Good morning, Aurora. I'm Mimi Rodriguez with your weather here, and it seems that next week we're going to be into some chaotic storms. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Saturday, tomorrow, we're going to have a sunny day and maybe cooler near Illinois shore late today. And it's going to be lowest at 66 and the highest being 73. Tomorrow night, it's going to be breezy with a cloudy day and at the night, and the lowest being 55 and the highest being 60. Sunday, it's going to be a cloudy day with an afternoon lake enhanced cold front, and the lowest being 74 and the highest being 80. Sunday night, we're going to have the coolest near Lake Michigan, with the lowest being 43 and the highest being 51. Now, we have additional details for Sunday. Sharp cold front passage will send temperatures tumbling in the afternoon, maybe around 40s to 50s near Lake Michigan in a few hours. So that's something to keep up with. And possibly there's going to be a small percentage, maybe 50% of mild showers or thunderstorms east of I-65 in northwest Indiana. Now, on to Monday next week. It's going to be a sunny day with maybe uppers 50 and low 60s near the Illinois shore, and the lowest being 70 and the highest being 79. Monday night, it's going to be, we may have some showers, maybe thunderstorms from 50 to 70% late. Scattered thunderstorms possible, and the lowest being 52 and the highest being 63. Tuesday night, we may have a severe threat up to 60-80% windy, and 60s. It's going to be 60 near the Illinois North Shore, with the lowest being 72 and the highest being 79. And Tuesday night, we're going to have thunderstorms as well, with a 60-80% chance, and maybe a severe threat, with the lowest being 56 and the highest being 61. Now, additional for that day, for Tuesday and Tuesday night, we have waves of showers and scattered thunderstorms. Some thunderstorms may be severe, so you want to look on the weather on that day. And we have strong winds coming from the south, gusts possibly up to 40 and 45 miles per hour. So it's going to be very windy that day. I'm Amir Rodriguez with your weather here, and I'll be seeing you next week.
Good morning, Aurora. I'm Ruby Sue B. And oh my goodness, do I have something exciting for you today. Whether you're new here or you're a loyal viewer, most of you know that Curtis is who is typically the host of Good Morning Aurora, and Curtis started it all, and we have him to thank. And guess what, guys? I have Curtis here today, and I get the pleasure of interviewing Curtis. So for those that don't know you, please introduce yourself.
All right. Well, hello. Good morning, everybody. My name is Curtis Spivey, and proudly the founder, creator, and now only the host on Mondays and Tuesdays of Good Morning Aurora, also founder of Buenos Dias Aurora and Good Night Aurora as well.
And I would say you still have a very large role. You're still
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Still involved in everything, but it's transitioning to what we always wanted it to be.
right.
Filling in some of the gaps.
We are going to circle back to that, but first, tell us the story of Curtis. Where were you born? Where are you from?
All right. So I was born on the far north side of Chicago, in Evanston, actually. That's where I was born at. My parents moved with me when I was 2 to Harvey, Illinois. And Harvey, Illinois was where I spent most of my life. My parents divorced early, though. So then we moved.
Real quick, where is Harvey?
Harvey,
I'm not
Illinois
familiar.
is far south suburbs, far south side of Chicago, right next door to Indiana. So
Okay,
Hammond, Indiana
okay.
is the closest city
Okay.
next door to it.
Yeah.
But I graduated from Waubonsie High School, Waubonsie Valley High
nice.
School. Yeah, so I've been an Auroran for that little limited period of time. Then moved to California, joined the Navy, lived out in San Diego for a good number of years. And then I made Aurora my home again around 2012 or 2013.
Okay.
Yep, I've been here ever
Neat.
since.
What are some of your favorite childhood memories? So either it could be, I want to hear it all. I want to hear, what did you watch? What did you listen to? What did you and your mom do together?
Favorite childhood memories.
Also, hello to Brenda.
Yes, hello, Mom. Hi, Mom. Favorite childhood memories. Well, I'd say that one of the things that I really liked was my parents would take us fishing. So we'd go fishing a lot when I was younger.
Where would you go?
Just many random places in Indiana. That was one of the benefits of growing
nice.
up next door to Indiana. I mean, if 5-6 miles into it, there's a lot of places to go fish and do that kind of thing. So those are some good memories. But a lot of other good memories are just of family and the south side of Chicago in the 80s.
That was a time. Did they ever open up fire hydrants in your neighborhood?
Oh
in the
yeah,
summer?
That's
And
how I
everyone
grew
would
up.
come out to play. Cool.
When I lived places where they don't do that, I'm like, why y'all ain't opening the fire hydrants?
I think we should do that here.
Yeah. So that was
Let's see
definitely.
who's in charge of that. The fire department?
Yeah. That was definitely a very good memory. Very good
Awesome.
memory.
Awesome. And when you fished, did you catch and release, or did you guys cook anything?
So I was more interested in all the big frogs that were at these ponds and streams and everything like that. So catching fish was cool, but you have to sit, catching fish, I didn't learn this until later on in life, like growing up. Like, it's not whether you catch fish, it's the experience of being out there,
The zen,
the zen
meditative.
of it all. Yeah. So I was a big frog, turtle, reptile, amphibian kind of guy. So I was more
cool.
interested in all the little wildlife that was scurrying around and everything.
I was too, and it's so fun when you get to see the tadpoles
Yes.
swimming around
Yep.
and then watch them.
And making that transition
Pollywogs.
to yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
This is fun.
I'm glad you're having fun. I'm having fun. Thank you so much to agreeing
Yep.
to be
Oh,
in the
absolutely,
other chair.
absolutely.
What were you, when you were a child, what were your childhood goals?
My childhood goals.
So, like, what did young Curtis want to do when he grew up? Or, like, what
Well-
did you want to do for a living? Or how did you see yourself?
So that's a great question. I saw myself, so there's a man named Herb Kent, and this plays a lot into what became Good Morning Aurora, but there used to be a radio station called V103. It's still around, 102.7. And this guy, Herb Kent, which played a big role in my life and childhood, every Sunday he'd have the Battle of the Bands, Marvin Gaye versus Al Green, the Temptations
Ooh.
versus the OJs, that kind of thing. And from a really early age, and everybody in every neighborhood I grew up in, this is part of my experience, no African American doesn't know who he is. So
That sounds better. And no shade to this because I loved this, but that sounds better than 104.3. Or oldies 104.3.
I listened to that too.
Which was great.
Yeah,
but
which was great. Absolutely.
that this station and program sounds cooler.
But so I always thought being on the radio would be really cool when I was a kid. I thought that'd be something cool to do. But I also draw. So one thing that a lot of people may not know is that I wanted to be a comic book artist early, and I actually
What
wrote
were your favorite comics? growing up?
all of X-Men, Spider-Man, X-Force, Excalibur. Then I like some of the dark stuff, Dark Horse Comics, Predator, all that kind of stuff, Sin City, Mike Miller, anything with Frank Miller's art. And I actually I drew a picture and I wrote a letter to Marvel Comics, like when I was like 8. And they sent me back a letter. That was real nice, an autograph, and it was like, don't quit your
my
day job,
gosh.
kid. But
But
yeah.
that must have been exciting mail to get.
It was. It really made me feel. It was the very first time that I swung, a little bit above my weight class, but still got a reply back from and the fact that they replied back, I kept that letter. It really felt good to just get a reply back from Marvel Comics.
Oh my gosh, I bet.
It was great.
Josui is asking what your favorite music and song is.
My favorite music and song?
Yeah.
Wow, that is that's a good question too. I don't know what my favorite. I love metal. I love rap.
Stop.
I
Me
love oldies. So
Me
I don't
too.
I don't know what my favorite music might be, but the song that comes to mind is Nothing Can Stop Me by Gene Chandler. Might be my favorite song.
Okay, I'm gonna go home and listen to that.
Gene
because
Chandler, of
that's
course,
not ringing a bell, and I'm sure I know it.
Gene Chandler, of course, for those who know, is the famous man who made Duke, 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 Duke of
Okay,
Earl,
yeah.
Duke, Duke, Duke of, which is another great jam. As I...
Ladies and gentlemen, the rest of the show will be Curtis the Swooner.
Yeah, seriously. But that's a great question. I like all styles of music, all genres of music, and I have a favorite song in all of them too. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Yeah. Hi, Rachel.
Rachel Cleghorn, good
Yeah.
morning to you. Chat is lit, right?
Hi, Tracy.
Feels
yeah,
good not
yeah.
being able
People
to
are loving seeing you.
Like I don't even gotta check it out.
Yeah, tell your
Yeah, I
friends.
love oldies. I love
Me
oldies,
too.
Josue. I'm a big oldies guy. Big oldies guy.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
Wow.
I love oldies.
When you were little, did you perchance watch Popeye?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I loved Popeye. I loved
too.
Popeye. So funny story about Popeye. Spinach. I loved spinach my whole life. I've been eating spinach my whole life. And but the thing was that I didn't differentiate I wasn't able to discern what spinach was besides like greens. Like I was eating greens my whole life.
Me too. Yeah.
And I didn't know what spinach was. I didn't know it was anything different until watching Popeye. Like, oh, that's a distinct, like, actual leafy plant. That's cool. But I loved Popeye. I love Popeye very much.
So you and Popeye have something in common.
We're both sailors.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to get into how you got into the Navy. I don't know, maybe if it was Popeye's influence or perhaps MC Hammer.
MC Hammer?
Did you know MC Hammer was in the Navy?
I didn't know that. He was?
He was.
It makes me like him even more. I knew he was a
Yeah.
ball boy for the Oakland Athletics.
He's done a lot.
He
He's
has.
lived a
He
full
has.
life. And he has a ministry.
He's amazing. See, now here's the thing. I'll tell people this. MC Hammer, I'm old enough to remember when he had a cartoon, and I used to watch it. So MC Hammer is another person who was an influence in a very positive way because he's another guy. We just know him from Hammer Time, but
Please,
he's done.
Hammer, don't hurt
Please,
him.
Hammer, don't hurt him. But he's so
Hammer Pants. He's so much more.
Yeah, he is. He
that
is.
was a time. That was a period in his life.
But the Navy. So.
Okay, so how did you? Aside from that, we all know as little kids, like especially us, we knew GI Joe, Army. How did you first hear about the Navy, and what made you think I want to enlist? This is it for me.
Well, I first heard about the Navy from, kind of getting close to graduating high school. Your parents leaving things on your pillow.
No.
Those suggestions, reminders. Join the Army, like trying to get you out of here.
Did you guys have the recruiters come to your school?
That is, so I'll touch on something. That's a good segue. Here's the thing. I grew up and it feeds into Good Morning Aurora now. I grew up in an area where that kind of thing wasn't going on. There were no recruiters coming to your school. Now, when I went to Wabanzi,
Interesting.
When I went to Wabanzi, there were recruiters there. But for one half of my life, a lot of the things that we see here, like interns canvassing, knocking on doors, and all that, none of that. I never saw any of that for the first half of my life. I didn't know any of that kind of stuff.
That seems a shame because then some children aren't being reached about opportunities.
So when I joined the Navy, I didn't have a really good relationship with my parents when I was younger. So actually, I remember it like it was this morning. I got up early, and one of my goals when I was real young was just to leave Harvey, Illinois. Like, I just wanted to, like, I was young enough or smart enough to know, like, there's got to be more to life than this. So I drove down.
In your own car?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of car was it?
It was a 1987 Cutlass Supreme.
Ooh.
Anybody ever had one, you know. Yeah.
Oh, you are fancy dancy. I had a, like, 89, it was a hatchback something.
Okay. All right. No, I feel you. 80s were a good year for, a good decade for automobiles. But I drove down Western Avenue, and it was early in the morning. And I just I saw the recruiting office, and I remember thinking, like, I'm going to go in here and see what they're talking about and see if I can get out of here. And I walked into this office. It was the door you walk in is here. There's another little lobby door. And then there was the Navy office, one long hallway, Navy, Army, Air Force, and Marines. And I got there early in the morning, and the only light that was on was the Marine Corps light. So I walked past every other door, and I walked in, and the guy is in there, and he's making coffee. And I remember I was like, hey, I'm interested in joining the Marines.
Yeah.
And he looked at me. He looked at me like up and down, and he was like, how much do you weigh? And I was like, 102, whatever it was. And then he was a real jerk. I remember he was like, you think you could successfully do this and all this? And I was like, yeah. He was like, you think you could successfully? And he gave me a pamphlet and some other stuff, and he told me, get your weight up and then come back and see me. And so I was like, all right, man. And I just left. But
Marine recruiter, you missed out.
Yeah, but when I left, when I was walking back down the hallway, now the Navy light was on. Mm-hmm. Somebody was in there. But I walked past it. And I got into the lobby, and I was just going to leave.
Sure, because that was a dismaying experience.
Yeah, I was like, I was in the building for 5 minutes.
Full of motivation
I was in the
mm-hmm.
building 5 minutes, and he already told me to get lost. So I was standing in the lobby, and I remember like this morning I was looking, and I was like, nah, let me go see what's good. So I went back in, and the Navy guy was in there now, Carlos Garduño.
Hi, Carlos.
Shout out Carlos Garduño, short Latino dude. He was in there with his dress whites on, and he had a big map of the world with all these little different color pins.
As soon as you said enough, I was going to ask, did he have pins where he's been?
He had all kind of pins.
Oh.
And I walked in, I was looking, and he was looking at me. He was like, good morning. I was like, how you doing? And I was looking, I was like, damn. And I was looking around, and I had the Marine thing like this. And he was like, can I help you? I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about joining the military. And he said, they didn't get you what you wanted? And he saw I still had the Marine
mm-hmm.
thing. He's like, you didn't get what you wanted down there?
No.
And I was like, nah, that guy was a jerk. And then we started talking, and that's pretty much how it happened. And yeah, that's how it happened. And he told me about all the things you need to do, delayed entry program, all this kind of stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff you got to do before you join and all that.
So you didn't tell your parents?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
So walk me through did you enlist and then tell your mom?
Nah.
How did this happen?
So
I'm nervous.
No. So when I signed up for the military and I took the ASVAB test.
Hi, Mom.
The job that I was going to get was hospital corpsman. That's the job that I took the ASVAB test and signed up for and qualified to be.
For those that don't know what the test is, what is that?
The ASVAB is the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery. It's and you can only score like a 99 on it. When I took that test, hospital corpsman was the job, and I picked it. But what I didn't know was that the leave date for hospital corpsman was like 6 months later.
Oh.
And I told him, like, as I mentioned to you, like, I didn't really like life at that time as a young man. So I told him, like, look, I need to go tonight. You're not getting me. Like, I'm trying to go tomorrow. Like, let's get out of here.
Right. This was your.
So then he told me some words that changed everything. He said, there is a way you can get into the Navy earlier. I said, what is it? He said, you can go in as an undesignated seaman. And I was like, what's that? He said, okay. He said, you know how you're going to go to corpsman school? I said, yeah. He said, well, instead of going to corpsman school, you don't go to a school after boot camp. You go straight to the fleet. He was like, but, and this one he was like, but there's a benefit that you can go and see all kinds of things. Maybe you don't want to be a corpsman. Maybe you can go see this. He's like, you go to the fleet and I said, sign me up.
Curtis.
And like, I think after I told him that, within 2 weeks, I was gone to boot camp. And then after boot camp, like a week later, I went to San Diego. And then my ship was out on deployment. So I was in San Diego for like 2 weeks before the ship came back. And then we were in port another 4 days. And then I went on my first deployment. Like it happened just like seriously. So I tell people, like, be careful what you wish for. Like, I got all of it really quick.
Wow. Where was your first deployment?
My first deployment, you go on what's called a South Pack. So your deployment, that's a lot of South and Latin American countries. You go through you cross the equator, go through the Panama Canal. So, Guatemala, Ecuador, a lot of great places. Cuba, a lot of places. Went to a lot of places.
So during your whole time with the Navy, what was your favorite place that you went?
Panama. Absolutely.
What do you recommend about Panama?
Everything. Panama is, it's just, seriously, it's heaven on earth. It is. It's the most beautiful place I ever had the privilege of being in. Panama is beautiful.
Very good.
It's a great place.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us.
No problem.
So post-Navy, what did you do post-Navy? What kind of jobs did you do?
I worked at Edward Hospital.
Oh.
Edward Hospital was my first job out of the Navy. First job out the Navy, transitioning back to Illinois and everything. Yeah, Edward Hospital.
It was being back on land weird?
Being back in Illinois was weird. Being back in Illinois was weird. I'd been in California for so long that, like,
It's a different world there.
It is. It's a completely
like a
different
country.
World. It is. It's very different. So being back in Illinois was a little bit different. It did take a while to get kind of familiar with the horse again and ride it. But, yeah, it was Edward Hospital was my first job out the Navy. I was a sterile processor working in the sterile processing unit, but, cleaning equipment and all that for, like, the OBGYN and the surgery departments and everything.
Wow.
Yep, first job out the Navy. They gave me a pager. You know what was crazy about it? So I'll tell you this. This is a good story. This matters.
Okay.
The lady who...
Oh, boy. Buckle in, folks.
They had a job they couldn't fill. It was the midnight shift at the hospital. And because nobody would take this job, they were paying a shift differential. So, like, after midnight, you made, like, even more money.
Of course.
And nobody would do this job. And it was just me from, like, 7 p.m. to, like, 7 a.m. just rocking it. They gave me a pager and a phone and just told me to do my thing. And it was, like, it was crazy. Edward Hospital was an interesting experience.
Was it a little bit eerie there at night?
Not for me. I loved it. Okay. I loved it.
Peaceful?
Oh. I loved it. I loved working in a hospital at midnight. That was so much fun. It was great. It really was. It was a great thing to do. First job out the military too. That was it was formative. It really was. It helped a lot. It helped a lot.
Very good.
Yep.
What else have you done? I heard that you worked. You know what? I forgot a little something.
What?
Circling back to the Navy. Young Curtis, I believe I actually have a photo. Can we show? Oh, there he is.
Oh, no, you did it. That's crazy.
I did. Look
Holy
how cute.
cow.
Look at that young man full of promise and potential.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Well, I bet
Yo,
you'd like
you are
to
good. You're
escape this photo. So let's
all
escape this
good.
photo and talk about another job that you have had.
Yo.
Sorry.
Yo. All right. I see.
Good
That was
morning,
good.
Aurora.
That was good.
You never know what you
Well
are going
done.
to get here.
Well done.
I heard you worked in an escape room.
I did. Yes. The escape room was another great experience, an interesting experience. The escape room was my first foray into potentially working for. So a friend of mine who's a veteran started that business. He's a Marine Corps vet.
What's his name?
His name is Joseph. I want to give his last name.
Okay.
I want to give his last name.
Joseph is fine.
He is. He created that business and he brought me on, and that was my very first time. He's a friend. It was my very first time not working for like an organization, a big company or something like that.
It's a different experience.
It was so different. It was so formative, and not only that, it was the thing that made me believe, like, okay, you know what, like, I could potentially. He made me his GM, and it was just like, it was just awesome. It was just really a great experience. So the escape room was great, and the cool thing about the escape room was, we were not, for a lot of people who don't know, a lot of escape rooms that you may have gone to or something, you can buy packs. Like, you can buy that room thing. Oh, get the vampire room.
Right.
You could buy the whole kit and set it up. That's not what happened with this escape room.
Oh.
Joseph created it because a friend of his was joining the FBI, and she needed a place. She needed to train and do certain things. So he helped her make just a room.
That is so cool.
That one room, it was the crime scene. That one room became, Escape Strategy was the name of the escape room. That one room became 3, and the rest was history.
That sounds like the ultimate experience. That is really, and what a good friend
So they
he
built
was to do that.
They built everything in there. Each room, they built it themselves.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. Him and his Uncle Dale. Until they hired me, and then we hired Eric, and then it was awesome.
And then
I'll shout him out. Joseph Larson is his name. He's my man. He's my man. Shout out Joseph Larson and Marmion Academy.
Cool. Did you ever have any really cool experiences at the escape room? Any cool events happen?
Yeah.
Anything romantic?
Yes, actually. So a friend of mine is getting married, and he proposed to his soon-to-be wife at the escape room.
That is so cool.
He came in on a date night with her. They had a great time. And then he came in by himself one day. He was like, yo, can I holler at you? I was like, yeah. He said, listen, I want to do the escape room, but I want to propose to my wife at the ending part when we propose to my fiance. Can we do that? I said, yeah. And we took a video of it. And we're still friends to this day. That was way before COVID. And he just texted me like, hey, we're getting married. Can you be there?
Congratulations, guys.
Feels good. It really feels good.
Gosh.
It really feels good. Jose Art. Dana Calderon said I still look the same from the picture. Thanks, bro. Thank you very much.
I have a lot more to ask you.
Okay.
But first, I want to go over some news.
Okay.
A little break.
Okay,
I have
absolutely.
some exciting community news you can use.
All right.
Up first, we have the Closing the Gap Grant, Empowerment Through Ownership. This is a grant that aims to promote minority home ownership by elevating the Black home ownership rate. It addresses the Black and white home ownership gap and barriers faced by Black families. By leveraging current incentives and HUD-approved services, this grant empowers eligible homebuyers with education, financial support, access to lending products, bridging the gap to generational wealth through home ownership. This is brought to you by the Neighbor Project, 32 South Broadway, Aurora, Illinois. And you can find out more information by visiting the website www.neighborproject.us. Love to see it.
Thank you.
On April 27th, from 1 to 3 p.m., there is a seminar, Property Tax Basics, Understanding Your Homeowner Property Taxes, hosted by Minister Tanya Beach from community. She is the Community Outreach Coordinator from the Everlasting Word Church, which is a great little church on 22 North Highland Avenue, Aurora. That's on the west side. The seminar will be featuring guest speakers, Davis Offit, the Aurora Township Assessor, Delia Gomez, the Aurora Township Chief Deputy Assessor, and Jeria Donaldson from the Neighbor Project. April 26th from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Aurora Financial Empowerment Center at 712 South River Street, Aurora. There will be an open house on financial counseling and collaboration, and that is helping to commemorate Financial Literacy Month. Together, discuss the strength of partnership, explore avenues to empower individuals while fortifying communities, and learn how we can pave the way for a brighter financial future for all. There will be complimentary coffee and snacks. You can register at www.aurora-illinois.org/FEC Open House. Brought to you by the Neighbor Project and Aurora, Illinois. We have some Aurora Financial Empowerment Center workshops coming up. This is part of the 2024 series, and these will be held at 712 South River Street, Aurora, there's a 10 a.m. and a 6 p.m. morning session and evening session. The upcoming dates are May 14th, and that is a guide to the home buying process, and June 11th, understanding the significance of credit. Very good. Are we taking a quick break or hopping right back into it?
We can go back into it. We can do that. I'm with it.
All right. Again, thank you so much, Curtis, founder of Good Morning Aurora.
Thanks for having a brother.
Thank you for having me as the new host. Thank you. So, Good Morning Aurora. I am so interested, and I'm sure the viewers want you to walk us through the process of how was Good Morning Aurora conceived?
Okay. It is a very long story. It is a super long story. There's going to be a book.
We have just under 30 minutes,
yeah,
but I still have a lot more questions.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, Good Morning Aurora was conceived and created in a bathroom. And I'll give you guys a fun fact.
Bathroom downtown?
Yep. If you guys know where that store Pre-Mill is, right there on New York and River Street, if you look, Pre-Mill, if you look at the top, that apartment, I used to live there. That's where Good Morning Aurora was created. So before the pandemic, when we had the escape room, my schedule, we opened up at like 5 o'clock was our first booking. So I started like 4. So during the daytime, I had a lot of free time on my hands. So I was interning for the office of State Representative Barbara Hernandez.
Love her.
And every day, I'd be doing my work there. How you doing? You calling off statement? Okay, yeah, we got the workshop. I would just be writing about this show. Starting this show. I wanted to create a show. When the pandemic came, we had to go remote with the volunteer or the internship. And every day, I was still doing my normal thing, still drinking coffee, still up, but now we got more issues and problems. The escape room ended up closing. Now I'm a grown man on unemployment. So like I got issues, same issues everybody else had. And then
a veteran on unemployment. Even.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was writing in my notebook, the same notebook that I was still writing notes in. And one day, it just came to me. It just came to me one day, and I put it together. How it happened was I was on the phone with somebody at the state of Illinois, like the State House, whatever we're doing, for some event. And she was like, "Yeah, Curtis, here's the time." I was like, "Okay, here's the time." She was like, "Here's the date." I'm like, "Okay, here's the date." And she was like, "Yeah, and all this stuff." And I was like, "Okay." So I hung up. And then I realized, wait a minute. This is the news. This is the news. Hold up. You know what I did? I closed the notebook and I just shut the laptop.
Just had a moment.
I was like, you know what? Hold on a second. So then, like, I just went through the day and whatever. The next day, I opened the laptop up again, opened the notebook up, and I wanted to check if it still looked the same. And my job was the news. I was like, I'm the guy with the Prisco Center thing. I'm going to be at the event. I'm setting it up. Home ownership workshop. Well, at this time, LIHEAP for your bills. Mutual Ground. Telehealth services. That was the news. And that's when it hit me. Like, you know what? That's what we're going to do. This is the news. And we will give the people news so authentic, so dope, so official that I'll be there at that time. You know, that's really what it was. I had I was putting together, because Barb had us working. She was a great leader. She is a great leader. I had 6 things on my little caseload, right? Each of those 6 things was State Treasurer Michael Frerichs. The state could owe you money. Come to 1200 East Indian Trail. That was me doing that. That was the news.
So then how did you take the leap to bringing it to us, the public of Aurora? What was the next step? What was the first location?
Oh, the next step was, so I have a friend named Diesel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Diesel, every day I was riding with Diesel. And he was always pressuring me like a good friend should. He was like, did you start that podcast yet? And I was like, nah, not yet.
Well, he's wonderful because he's so positive and supportive of everyone in the community, and he's very community minded.
He got tired of me telling him what I was gonna do.
Yeah, don't just talk about it. Do it.
So he said, listen, the next time I see you, this podcast should be created.
Good.
So I went, and I guess still got the iPhone 4. I had an iPhone 4. And a friend named Sam, I would call him. He used to work for a senior living facility or whatever it was. I would call him. He started at 9. I'd call him at 8 o'clock, and we would talk from 8 to 8:30 on Zoom, and it would be recorded. And then I'd take that recording,
so
and that
was Zoom.
and that was the first. Those were the first episodes of Good Morning Aurora. That's how it started.
Are those archived? Do you still have those? Are they
I
on a drive
I still do.
somewhere?
I still do.
Amazing.
I still got them.
Sorry, I didn't know about it. I would have.
Well, nobody
I don't have
knew.
those folks.
Nobody knew. Nobody listened. Nobody listened for the first 5 months of this show's existence.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So, that's sad. But you kept going.
It's all good. Yeah, exactly. It's all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Sorry. That.
It's all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, 5 months has gone by. What's next?
Well, so that.
And that takes a lot, by the way. That's a lot of drive.
It does.
To keep going.
So something was happening, though, every single day that was really important in retrospect. You know, again, this was COVID. We started, Good Morning Aurora started in May of 2020. So, when COVID started, here we came. You know, for that hour of that time when I was doing the show, it was like I forgot all the issues that I had. When the show was over, when I would wrap it up and push the end button, then it was like, oh, wait, yeah, it's COVID. There's nobody on the streets. People are dying every day. And every day we were doing the COVID-19 totals every day on the show. And every issue was still there. But I know I felt great for that 1 hour. So I started trying to think, you know what? I'm going to try to do what I can to make people have as good of a day as they can for 1 hour. That's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to make people have 1 hour a day that's good, pleasant, informative, resourceful for them. because if I can feel the same way for this 1 hour, hopefully somebody else will be as we go through this morass
Very
of what
good.
COVID was. Yeah, so that's how it started. That's how it started. There's a lot more to that, but that's the overview of how it started.
Do you want to talk about any of the next locations for Good Morning Aurora, or do you want to just jump to where we are today?
No.
Okay.
So after the, absolutely.
Okay.
After this, because it matters. I was recording in a bathroom for a long time, and I was like, I need to do things a little bit better. So I reached out to Gremlin Studios.
Yes.
Shout out Gremlin Studios on
Downtown Aurora.
on downtown Aurora, the Legal Arts Building. Gremlin Studios is the first official real studio time that I had it even in my life. So we were there for a good number of months. We were at Gremlin Studio. Unfortunately, though, we had to leave Gremlin Studio because, and it's not a diss. It's not a diss at all. Shout out to Gremlin. They always get love from us. But they had a lot of rappers and stuff coming through there and dudes doing all kind of things. So, like, we'd get there in the morning sometimes and, like, you know, they got the blunt guts all over the thing and all that. It's still
that's sometimes
still like
the
a
nature
Hennessy
of the
bottle on the
beast.
table.
Yeah.
And because you got to remember, at this time, we were 9 months old. Nobody knew we existed.
Sure.
I'm still swinging above my weight. I'm reaching out to Ron Hain,
Right.
State's
you're
Attorney Jamie Mosser.
trying to set yourself up and be very serious. And that is,
I
again,
can't-
that's not a diss
yeah.
because
We can't have roaches
I don't know
in the
who else has
ashtray.
been in recording studios, but that's the nature of the beast.
It
I've been
is.
in some that
It
are
is.
more of the rock and roll
It is.
genre, and it's same situation but different
Totally.
different items,
It's
different
like-
little objects,
It's
different
like girl
ice
shoes over
objects.
here, Hennessy bottle over here, roaches in the ashtray. Like, we can't do so. It got to the point where we had to just leave. And after that, we went to we went to the bottom of One East Benton,
the old
the
library.
old library, and the book wall was still there. And that's
love
where I
the
met
book
you.
wall. Yeah.
That's where we met.
Yeah.
So Good Morning Aurora was there. After there, Good Morning Aurora recorded in the law offices of Judd Lofshe and Associates.
Oh, Judd is great. Okay.
Judd is the man.
Very good.
Judd is the man. Judd reached out, and that
was really nice.
That's something. It is. You know, there's an old saying: the true character of a person is how they treat people who can't do anything for them.
That's another passionate person, and I like his passion for environmentalism.
He liked what we were doing. He listened to the veracity of the show, what we were talking about, and he was like, "Yo, you know, I got an office I'm not even using," and that helped us. That helped us a lot. That took us to a great location. And after that came the old ACTV studio.
Yes,
Yep, that one.
I'm familiar with that. as well.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
And that studio too helped us cut our teeth in many different ways because, again, that studio allowed us freedom of movement, which was very important in doing and creating this show. Because, you know, for those who do know me as an individual, like, to get the show started at 8, I was up at 5. That studio allowed us to do that. All the failing, all the trying and everything. So that was the progression. And then here.
Very good. Right. And so I love, so for those that don't know, the ACTV studio is in City Hall.
Yes.
And it is a great space.
Absolutely.
And we are so grateful to
Absolutely.
the city.
Yeah, very much so. So working here has been, again, another really great informative experience because this is the first time in the life of, well, besides a couple other times, this is the first time in the life of Good Morning Aurora where I haven't had to be the stewardess, the pilot, the janitor, the engineer of the airplane, and that kind of thing.
I was going to say, so we're not only so grateful to the city of Aurora in general, but there's a lot of great people here.
Absolutely.
Amir, Connor.
Yep, the team
Alex,
is growing.
Lucas, Justin.
Yep.
And there's so much more that I apologize. I don't even know everyone's name yet, but
absolutely. So
it's
that's
amazing.
that's the progression of locations and everything with the show, and that matters too. Absolutely.
Very cool. Oh my gosh.
This is a good
I'm
interview.
just so happy to be here. And again, thank you so much. So, okay, so we've covered your childhood. We've seen your photo of you in the Navy. We've talked
was
about
good one,
MC
yeah.
Hammer and Popeye. What are you, and you've covered this a little bit about, so what are your additional hopes? What do you want to bring to the community through Good Morning Aurora?
Well, Good Morning Aurora it's consistently, all of my dreams and wildest thoughts and daydreams are coming true. What the future holds and what we're going to do and continue to do is we're just going. So this year, let me start over actually. So this year, 2024, looking at everything we have done from Good Morning Aurora start to date, health, wellness, family, are the three things that this year we are going to double down on and try to increase reporting on.
Very good.
Interviewing and sharing that information. And the reason why is because I've been looking at it. I see all the data, the numbers, who's liking, who's hitting the like button and sharing. Teachers, educators, and parents love Good Morning Aurora, and they really get a benefit out of it, and that makes me happy. And those are the same people who then come back around, like Batavia Color Run. You guys know, they send me the flyer. That's what we're going to do more of. So to answer the question, we're going to show the people even more of those grassroots, hand-to-hand, connecting organizations, people, and things. Because there's a lot of stuff that's happening where the connections are that aren't, there's a lot bubbling under the surface. There's a lot going on. And I know that, but a lot of people don't know that.
Right. I have an interesting word that maybe many people won't connect this word with what you're doing and what your goals are, but prosperity. Because to me, to be prosperous can mean with your health, with a great community.
Absolutely.
With all of that. And a lot of it does boil down to like the events.
Absolutely.
That you're out in the community doing and promoting, which are educational events.
Absolutely.
Which give people the knowledge, and there's enough for everyone.
We're doing new things, and we're always going to try and do new stuff, but the core message and the core news of Good Morning Aurora will always be those things that will, not might, that will help you and will and can improve you. They absolutely can. They're the same things. They're literally the same things that I needed when I was in somebody's shoes. My life has transformed since I had those issues. None of those issues I have anymore. I don't even live there no more.
I was a little sad when I heard that then you would sign off, and that's, a lot of us have been there. I've definitely had those moments in my life where something boosts me up, but then there's the sadness.
It is. It's all part of it.
So I'm glad you're here and we're here. What do you see? What's next? What do you see next for Good Morning Aurora in the next few years?
All right. Here's what's next. Here's what's next. All right. Check this out. Here's what's next. When we're firing on all cylinders, well, in the immediate future, we're going to 5 days a week for Good Morning Aurora and for Buenos Dias Aurora. We'd like to be able to acquire or get a little more time and a little more things done with the programs and the time of day. Because, for 5 days a week right now, we're doing a half hour with each show, but there's still a lot of news. So we an hour for each one would be ideal. But in the future, we're going to be doing a lot more of the big community discussions. So that's something that we're going to be doing. And Good Morning Aurora will be part of those and cooperating with those and co-hosting those and co-moderating those. Good Night Aurora also is going to explode this year. So that will be it already is, it will continue to be Aurora's kind of out on town nighttime show. We still have an opening or a couple openings for some talented people. We'd like to have another hostess for Buenos Dias Aurora for Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Again, strengthening the Amirs of the world, the Connors of the world. That's what it's about. So, very soon, teachers are going to be asking kids in school, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they'll be like, I want to work for Good Morning Aurora.
Very good.
That's what we're going to do. I'm just going to be the J. Jonah Jameson Y'all the Spider-Man, you know?
And speaking of being about town, what are some of your favorite things to do in downtown Aurora? What places do you like to go, or are there any just kind of historical buildings you like to look at and admire?
Yeah. Well, I Tavern on Broadway, McCarty Mills. I can frequently be found at those two places, but I like the parades that we have here in the city.
Ooh.
Yeah, I do.
Which one's your favorite?
You know what? I really don't know. It might be the 4th of July parade. It could be the 4th of July parade. I like the parades here in the city, and I like them purely for the news gathering opportunity. I like that. I like the parades that go on in the city. I do like Alley Art Festival. Alley Art Festival is a really good time.
That is so fun.
That's a good time.
That's so fun. I have a guest coming up that we're going to be discussing.
Yeah.
That and some other
I like
things.
Alley Art Festival a lot. So I try to take advantage and go out there to those events. But those are probably my favorite things to do in town.
Now, I'm probably going to have you back on for a part 2 of your interview, because we're getting we're cutting it a little close with time, but there were so many exciting things to discuss. So briefly, I want to touch on your work with the Neighbor Project, because I know that is so dear to your heart, and
Absolutely.
the Neighbor Project does so many wonderful things. So
absolutely. So I started off as a volunteer with the Neighbor Project. I had volunteered for the YWCA, and I volunteered for World Relief. But it was like kind of once in a while. It wasn't like very frequent. World Relief is a partner in some fashion with Neighbor Project, and it just so happened that when they had no work, Sarah Brito reached out to them and was like, hey, look, we got a lot going on. I need some volunteers. Y'all got anybody? And they were like, yeah, we got this guy. They had 4 people, 3 other people, and then me. And they sent out the word to come to this volunteer event hosted by the Neighbor Project. I was like, okay. I went there. Nobody else came. I was the only person who showed up.
Really?
And I met Sarah that day, and I loved it. I liked it. I liked what we were doing. But the thing that hooked me was I liked the people. You know, all the people were really cool.
It's important.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay. But this time I was working in Chicago. So I was working in Chicago.
Holy
and
smokes.
And
Commute.
taking the train, commuting every day. And I wanted something to do here in Aurora. I lived in Aurora. I wanted to work in Aurora finally. And I applied for a Neighbor Project. It just didn't really work out. That's when the escape room came. And then COVID happened. And one day before Barb's office officially closed, because remember COVID, things were closing a little bit by little bit.
Oh, yeah.
The last day of Barb's office, I was walking down Downer, and we have a Neighbor Project property by New England Congregational Church. Rick Guzman, our executive director, who I knew before then, was walking out of the property. He saw me. Hey, how you doing? I was like, terrible. I need a job. And
yeah, I know the property.
Yep, exactly.
Exactly.
It took a little while, but they opened up a position, and I applied for it, and I was fortunate enough to be selected.
Amazing.
Yep,
They
absolutely.
chose well.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and yep.
Yeah. Were you involved in community service when you were younger, so pre-Navy, or did this just come?
Yeah, no, it's
Just curious what fostered your
passion
for community.
You know what? I had here's a funny story. It'll make it to the book. I had to do community service, and I went to a pig farm to do it, a slaughterhouse.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's. I got excited about pig farm. And
I had to do community service.
Business.
I had to do community service at a slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the experience. I was like 15. I didn't really like the experience. But I did community service after that for a guy named Del Jones, who worked for MetLife, and he was an insurance claims adjuster. And I followed him around during his day. That was really great, and I went out with him with some volunteer stuff. Then in the Navy, we did something called ComRel, Community Relations, where we're in your country. ComRel. We build churches. We build and paint stuff and help these local people do their thing. I loved it. Helping these people in Guatemala to repair their roof on their. I loved it.
I bet your mom was proud.
I loved it. And then when I came back to Illinois, I started doing little things to help out. Little things help out, and one thing led to another. And I was just searching for something to get involved in and help give back my time to. And doors started opening up, and
What do you recommend for anyone who hasn't done community service or hasn't worked with a community or wasn't raised that way, and they're having that feeling where they want to get involved? What do you recommend? How do you recommend they get that started?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of organizations to work with, but I'll say this because in my history, Navy and everything, so I have I've worked and trained large amounts of people. Mm-hmm. I've been fortunate to train a lot of young people, mentor them and guide them and make teams. I've done that a long time. And first of all, you got to be the right kind of person. There's two types of people. There's people who actually care about the mission. Mm-hmm. And then there's people who just come there for the donuts and the T-shirt.
Yeah.
So first of all, you got to make sure that you're the right kind of person, that you're actually looking to do that. And if you're not, that's totally cool.
Yeah, that's okay.
Because the best things in life and the stuff that really matters are not always the things that have a dollar attached to them.
Yeah.
That's the first thing you got to do. You got to be ready to make sure that you are actually that kind of person. Mm-hmm. Because it's not always pretty. And that's what matters. But I would say that if you are interested, if somebody out there is interested in doing things, to getting involved in your community, a great place to start is, what would you like to see on your street or your block? Start there. Whatever you like to see on your street or your block, find out if there's an organization who's doing that and see if you could help them. And that's a good way to get the ball rolling.
I agree. And I love that. And I love the positivity.
Yep.
And as you know, because you are the creator of this, again, thank you so much for being with us.
No doubt. Y'all got a good thing going on up here. This is cool.
Note.
This is cool.
We end the show
Hope
on
y'all
a
have a
positive
brother back
note.
sometime.
Yes. We do need the part two. As I said, we need to discuss the neighbor project and the other things you're doing.
Yeah.
But can you leave our viewers with something positive?
Yeah, sure. Positive note. Well, I'll say this. I'll say that the time is now for whatever it is you're trying to do. You need to be more down than everybody else in whatever it is you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. You have to be. So many people believe in many things, but they don't believe in themselves. People have all kind of faith in other things, but they don't believe in themselves. People believe in their spouse, they believe in their thing, they believe in that, but when it comes to them, they don't think they can do it. Mm-hmm. It's not going to work. Well, what if? And what I'm saying is in this life that is finite, you might as well get busy doing it. Seriously.
Beautiful.
Good things take time, but dreams do come true. Sounds corny. I know you've been hearing it all your life, but believe me. There's people in the chat like Kevin May who knew me way before Good Morning Aurora, like way before, like 1997,
Amazing.
98.
Amazing.
And it's true.
Yeah, and dreams do come true.
Yep.
Decide and design. And Aurora, thank you for being with us. Good morning, Aurora. Good day, Aurora. Thanks for tuning in. And we will see you Monday live on location.
Absolutely.
Where?
That's another thing we're doing.
Tune in.
Right, exactly. See
Thank
you guys
you.
at 9.
Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.